Thanks a million for coming on, Finn.
No bother. Sure, I saw
Man.
the UCD boys were on.
They were, yeah. We
Had to one
Dara
up them.
last week. Dara was singing your praises all together.
Well,
You're going to the
why did you
NFL,
throw
you
me on the
reckon?
bus?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, Finn, if you want to just maybe, we took a look at your Twitter and your highlights video and stuff like that. I'm interested to ask you a couple of questions first after about your video, but maybe if you want to maybe just get into your background. So you're actually from Galway originally?
Yeah, I'm from Galway, from Kildare actually. And I was kind of lucky enough.
American football stronghold.
Yeah, it is really, I don't know, the heart of football in Ireland. I was lucky enough when I was about 15. My mom got a job in America, so of course my eyes lit up, and when they were going over, I went straight to like American football, because I used to play for Galwegians, like with rugby, and they obviously don't have rugby at the same level over there. So I was like, I'm mad for the American football. Like I played Madden before that. My friends, like, we used to watch the odd game or two, but like, not following it religiously. Like So like when I got the opportunity, I jumped at it. I played for 2 years in high school, and kind of did well enough. And got on to got the opportunity to play in college. So I stayed then for what ended up being 6 years in America, 2 in high school and then the 4 in college. And after that, kind of didn't want to give it up. Like, kind of knew I wanted to keep playing. And I had been playing when my summers were kind of in college. I kept to come home to Ireland for the summer, and I was looking for a place to play. So I played with the guys in the UL Vikings for a few summers. So I kind of had an idea that there was American football in Europe. So after I finished college, I kind of just reached out on there's like a website kind of for CV, almost like LinkedIn for football players. And I was lucky enough to just get picked up by the Pori Bears in Finland. So I played there for a year, and loved it. Like, it was great opportunity, great team. And then from that went on and played 2 more years in Germany, or 1 more year in Germany. Would have played last year in Germany, but obviously COVID cancelled the season. Yeah. And then kind of here now, hopefully, touch wood, going back to Finland again this season if I'm able to leave this country at all, if we ever get out of lockdown.
When is the season meant to start? And is it something similar?
The season starts there in, I think, May 20th is our first game. I think it starts the week before. We have a bye week 1. It'll be like the second week in May it starts. And they're kind of bringing us over then for April time to kind of do a preseason with the team and stuff.
Okay. And is the league, is it a Euro league? Like, is it playing teams within Europe or just in Finland itself?
Just in Finland itself. That would be the Maple League in Finland. It'd be kind of like the top league in Finland. And I know there are some European leagues. The team I was signed for last year, Stuttgart, are playing in like this European League of Football this year. It's like its first year it's starting out, and there's also like the Central Football League as well. Yeah. But I think for the most part, kind of the teams play a domestic season, and then maybe like the winners or the runners up of those domestic seasons might go on and play in like the other football league and play other kind of better teams in Europe.
And that's kind of,
those tournaments are kind of shorter as well. Like, they're kind of like 2 games. If you win them, you go on to like a semi-final, final kind of thing. They're not really like a full. Yeah, exactly. It's not really like a full length season kind of thing.
Okay, cool. So maybe we'll just go back to when you went over to the States. Just to go through that. Was it like? You're obviously coming from rugby. Did you play a bit of GA when you were growing up as well, maybe?
Yeah.
So was it an easy transition when you went into high school over there? To obviously that was probably the main sport that was going to be something similar to rugby, but was it easy to kind of walk in and take it on, or?
It wasn't like at the same time, still sports. Like, you kind of, if you're good at anything, you can kind of pick up football to a certain level. Like, it kind of just it lends itself well to like athletes, or if you it's very specific, so you don't need to know too much or be too involved in it. So kind of, let's say like the American school system and like how they handle sport was a lot different. I think that was like probably the biggest change, or the biggest thing I noticed was that, you know, I went from having like practices like two, 3 times a week, maybe with hurling or rugby or anything. You're not, you know, you're not going every day. But then in America, like it's full on every single day. You have training after school. They kind of expect it to be like lifting weights in your own time. They have like meetings sometimes to watch film and stuff like that. And then obviously a game like every week was also, I kind of wasn't that used to, because, you know, you always have like 2 weeks or a little bit of time in between games, like, and stuff. And it was very like, it's very
it's pretty intense.
More, not professional, but like it's more interest put into it.
Yeah. And
what kind of crowds have you been getting in high school? Kind of, would there be a lot of people coming out to the games, or?
They would at the beginning. My school wasn't that good, so they dropped off. Once you start losing, they don't come again. But yeah, big enough crowds, and especially in Massachusetts as well. Like the weather plays a big factor, because it gets cold. You play from September to say November to November. Like Thanksgiving is usually your last regular season game in Massachusetts. It's kind of the biggest game, and that game would have a big crowd for nearly everyone. Like there's a lot of like historical rivalries. Like certain schools would always play each other on Thanksgiving, and it just draws a crowd. But other than that, you know, they'd be good at the start, and if you win, they'd stay coming. But they drop off of that. It's nothing like Texas, like you have 60,000 seater stadiums and stuff. But I wish, but it wasn't like that in Massachusetts.
Yeah, and did you, I guess, how did you was it your coach in high school that decided what position you'd play, or was it kind of a pick a position when you got there?
Well, it was kind of more, I knew I wasn't going to be a lineman. I came in at about like 65, 70 kg and 6'2". So they're like, right, you have about 2 options here. You can play corner or you can play receiver. So I ended up kind of just doing a bit of both. But I think they did do a good job of kind of identifying, like, oh yeah, you got a bit of speed, like you can kind of catch a ball, like, so we'll work with you. And I was kind of lucky in the sense that my junior year when I arrived, we had a lot of senior receivers. So I basically kind of got 1 year under them to kind of see how you would do it, and then they all graduated and left. And so the school or the coaches kind of knew, like, right, he might be the guy for next year. So I was in the weight room like every night, every day after school, and trying to bulk up a bit, doing like work with the quarterbacks, like even before school. Like, you wake up at 5:30 in the morning, come in like to the basketball gym and just throw the ball and stuff like that. Like, but it was like they were kind of prepping me then to be able to play for the team.
Where like at that age, where were you getting the motivation? Was it from coaches, or was that just what everyone done? Because when I was in secondary school, you'd have the old lady be dragging you out of bed to go to school, and mind get up at 5:30 for weights. Like,
no, you're dead right. I definitely didn't want to do it, but I kind of did. Like, you kind of like it in a sense. But I remember like there was the quarterback to school. He was a freshman at the time. His name was Austin Burton. He's been fairly successful. He played for UCLA for a while, and now he's at Purdue. But I remember there was a few mornings I was like, oh yeah, I can't make it in. Like, I've no lift or whatever to get in. And his dad was actually like, sure, I'll come get you. like, where you live? Like,
no problem getting out.
Yeah, so it was kind of like that. Like, once you're in the system, or once you're kind of going with it, it's easy enough to just keep going, because like I had another receiver with me. He was a senior too, and like he loved the process. Like he was kind of showing me what to do. Like, you know, this is how you need to lift. This is how you need to act, like to get going. So it was almost like, before even realizing that, I was 2 or 3 months in of this schedule that was just, you know, going, and I had no time to think about it.
I imagine you didn't meet any other Irish lads playing over there, did you?
Not playing, but like, you know, I was in Boston. I was close enough to Boston, a kind of suburb. It's a town called Newton, so like you can't throw a rock without hitting another Irish person, really. So there was a few in my school that were Irish, kind of same situation, came over and stuff. But I haven't met too many people playing.
No.
But I've heard of a few lads kicking and stuff now. It's kind of becoming more popular. Starting to see them pop up around the place.
Yeah, that seems to be the way.
Finn, do you know, when you talk us through the process there of college? So obviously, when you were a senior, then you would have been, you start to get more reps and stuff, and then eventually you would have got offers then at the end of the season, was it?
Yeah, that was kind of it. I was late kind of coming in because I only started in my senior year, so I obviously didn't have like the big Division 1 offers, or like, you know, some guys, you see them like they know where they're going, they're committed before their senior year even starts. Like I didn't have that opportunity, but like you said, like I was starting on kind of both ways my senior year, and just kind of had like I wasn't even thinking about like college at all. Like I was thinking about coming home and going to college in, like, you know, UL or something like that. But then just kind of was playing away, doing my thing, and after the season, I got a few emails from a few random Division 3 colleges, and it was just like, oh, what's this about? Like, you know, started a conversation, and then before I knew it, like I had been accepted into a few colleges and like had a few options to choose from. They're all kind of Division 3, so, you know, not like a full scholarship or anything, but just the fact that you can actually get in. I didn't have like the best grades or anything, so it was a good opportunity for me, and it was something that, like, by the end of it, like I really was committed and really wanted to do, like, because I just had so much fun for the 2 years I was playing. I was like, I just love to play, keep going, you know.
Yeah.
So that again just kind of like was like the next step, you know, in the off season. Just keep going and try to get a place to play for the next year.
Yeah. When you said you played kind of, well, you're still kind of playing wide receiver and in cornerback as well.
Trying to.
No, we were watching your video. You had some hands on you there for a couple of good interceptions.
The editing.
Too wild to figure out where you played.
Yeah.
This man does it all. We're waiting to see you kick him after.
Kind of looks like me. I video that guy and just put him up online.
It fooled us.
Yeah.
You say you had someone good editing doing it, is it?
Yeah, I've been fooling people for years. You know, it's all just the angles and the lighting. But,
maybe we'll get you doing our editing because we're very straight at it, to be honest. So when you went into the college system, obviously, did they kind of decipher what position they were kind of trying to get you in, or were you still doing the multi-position basically?
No, that was very decided. I came in, it was like, you're coming in as a receiver, because I suppose not everyone plays both ways, but it's not too uncommon to see people playing, you know, two positions in high school.
It used to be something more kind of off, like years and years ago, like it used to always.
Yeah,
exactly. You don't really see it anymore.
You don't see it as much, but I think if we get like smaller schools, like especially like the big time schools like in Florida or Texas or California or whatever, they kind of they're almost like a college program basically. Yeah. So I feel like that's how it goes, you know, like it just trickles down at the level of professionalism and all the things. But for lower tier schools or in schools that aren't like as big, or you might see it a lot more commonly that people play both two positions. But like you say, when I went to college, like they were like, you're here for receiver. You know, my locker was where all the receivers were, like next to the quarterbacks. Like there's no chance I was switching. Like, you know, I got a navy practice jersey and not a white one, so I knew I was on offense. Like I'm not. There's no messing around or anything.
Yeah. So I guess like we had that when we had the lads on last week. Dara, Harry, and Thomas, they kind of give us a good. So we wouldn't be like, even though we started this, what we're trying to do even ourselves is just get more in depth with even in Europe and in Ireland as well, the football. So like they give us a good kind of idea of even the skills that are available in this country. But one thing Dara said was that like some of the American guys, like they're just kind of built differently. Like did you see that? Like they're just built like big shit houses, like, but like you see that yourself? Like
I heard that already. I think it was fairly spot on. Like I kind of struggled for it as well. I think, and I remember what he was saying, he's kind of struggling for words to like how to describe the difference between that, like, you know, say someone who's like a Division 1 athlete or an NFL athlete and like an everyday person that you see. And it is hard to describe, but they're definitely built differently. I think must be something in the milk or something they're drinking, because like by the time they're 15, like they're full grown men, like full beard. Like, I'm 24, I still can't grow a beard. Like, there's something there. Like, I don't know what the difference is. But,
that's the Galway genes. You up facial hair. That's what it is.
No, but yeah, like I would agree. Like, there's just there's levels to it. Like,
Yeah,
some guys you can just see them, the way they move or the way they run or something like that. Like, you just like, oh, like this guy is definitely built differently. Like, it's just not the same playing field.
yeah.
Would you have seen lads even in your high school team that think, geez, that fella's going far, he's a different beast altogether?
We had a couple of guys like that. Like, one guy I remember, Tyrone is his name, is a player for our team, and I remember he was big into track, but I think at one point in his high school he ran like a 4.4 at a combine, like the Massachusetts high school combine or something, and from then on, like, he was just getting letters from all these different colleges just because, like, he just blipped up on the system as being like that fast, and like he was actually an unbelievable player too, like, to be fair, but like just the characteristics that he had, that he was just had a certain attribute or something that was like exceptional, that like made him stand out above everyone else. Like, and to be fair, he was like unreal. Like, he was just a different level of different caliber player, and he went on to play for Virginia Tech, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you know, it made sense. It wasn't a fluke that like that's where he ended up. Like, it was just like, you know, you could kind of see that he was just a level above nearly everyone else.
Yeah, they start at such a young age, like, over there as well. Like, they're just, you can see them on Netflix. That's the closest us get. Like, they have like a pee-wee football, and they're really like really pushing the shit out of them. So then you came over to Ireland. Then you were playing with UL for a while.
Yeah, that was actually one of the best decisions I ever made. Like, I remember my senior year in high school. I knew I was coming back at the summer, and I was like, right. At that point, I'd been accepted to college, so I was like, right, I need a way to train, like, because even searching for someone who can throw a ball, like, it's fairly rare. Like, if you're looking for someone just to throw past here or something. So I just like looked up on Facebook or whatever, like places that play football in Ireland. And I saw like the UL Vikings popped up. I shot the page a message being like, what's the story? Like, this is who I am. This is what I've done. Like, can I play or whatever? And remember at the time I was 17, and you're supposed to be 18 to play in the league. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm 18, 100%, like, definitely, like, this is my birthday and all that. But they were like, yeah, sure, just come down, like, meet the lads. They had a few games left in their season, so I was able to get on and play a few seasons. I think I had to play 2 games in the regular season in order to play in the playoffs, and they were in the playoffs that year. So I got on with them, and it was just like, immediately when you met them, like yourselves, like, it's just like, there's such a community of people who follow football in Ireland that, like, you're basically speaking the same language from day one. Like, as soon as I met them, they were all like really cool. Like, they took me on. They wanted to know about like what my experience was in the States, and I was interested to hear like what the league was like. And it was just great. Like, because from there, like, I made connections with, like, that's actually how I met Dara. I think the next year, I actually played against Dara, and it was the first time meeting him. And
is he any good?
Well, we'll leave that for another day.
Yeah, it's gone. Next question.
No, like, he was a good, right? He actually throughout the game was marking me, like, so I got to know him fairly well. And after the game, he actually came up to me, and he was the first person I'd ever heard say, if you're interested in playing in Europe, like, just let me know. And sure, we actually lost the game, so I was a bit salty. I didn't say anything to him for years. So that's how I got introduced to it. But like, definitely it was a great decision to go out and play for them. Like, it was a cool door that opened that I didn't even know existed until I kind of shot out the message and asked what was up.
So when you're going over to Europe, say from Ireland, you sign up to, is it kind of like an agency website you sign up to, or how does it work across?
Yeah, that was what I did first. It's a website called Europlayers.
Yeah.
It's kind of an old enough website now, but I think it is well used by them, by the community in Europe to sign, more specifically probably American players coming over.
Oh, okay.
That's how they kind of picked them up. Kind of once I had signed to Pori, I used it again to get to Germany, but after that you kind of build connections throughout, like, how you play. You know, you meet you play against a team. Obviously, they know you're that team's import, so you're chatting to their imports after the game, or you're chatting to like the head coach of that team, and you like a lot of it's just network through Facebook, so, like just keep in touch with guys. And then Dara especially helped me out a lot my second year after I got to Pori, because when that season was done, he actually messaged me on Facebook. He was like, "Oh yeah, we've this Team Ireland thing." And Team Ireland had been a thing before, but they had rebranded to the Wolfhounds.
Okay.
And he was messaging me about that, because he obviously was the defensive backs coach, and he was like, "Look, I know we were like, would you like to come and play for the Wolfhounds this year? And we have a game against Belgium or whatever." And so after that game, then I reached out to him like, "I'm looking to play in Germany next season." Because obviously Pori was great. Like I loved the organization, loved the team, loved the guys, but they were playing in the second division in Finland.
Okay.
So that was like, they have like the Maple League, the first division, the second division.
All right. So it's like
the competition level wasn't the best. Not taking anything away from them. Like it was a great experience. Like, and it was a fun year.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of connections. But he had a very successful career there in Germany. So he knew like a ton of coaches, and he would like send out my film and kind of like give me like a recommendation of this is who I am and stuff. And just that connection of kind of knowing someone rather than just being on a website on the internet, like having someone physically being like, "Look, this guy can do the job," or whatever, helped me so much. And from then on, I kind of just used Facebook and just messaging personal connections to kind of meet teams and stuff. I find it is probably the better way.
Are kind of most of the coaches, like say your first there when you're in Finland, were the coaches European guys, or were they kind of from the States, kind of trying to make their name over here, or
there's a bit of both. Like I've met some coaches from Europe that are like trying to make it as like a full-time coach, and like they get like contracts just like I do to go to different teams and stuff, and they're fully European. Like, and then opposite of that, there's also like a lot of American coaches who come over, some of them who have had very successful careers in America already, and just kind of looking for just a chance to go to Europe and live out for a few summers in a team there. And then opposite, there's like certain coaches that are like starting their coaching career, come out here, coach for a few years with the intention of going back to the States and getting like a college or a big high school or something to sign them or whatever.
Resume.
So it's kind of a mixed bag of different types of coaches, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Finn, would it be you're talking about Finland and Germany there? Is it American football? Is it English language that's dominant, or what? It must be. You have to be fairly adaptable moving around, like.
Yeah, it is mainly English. It's funny too, like in the meetings or something, if the coach is roaring at them in Finnish or in German, you're like, "All right, it's not me. I'm off the hook." But then, like when they start speaking English, you're like, "All right, better pay attention here. Like, this might be me." But yeah, it's the common language is English. The lads, like in fairness, like nearly everyone I've met from the like domestic countries that you go to, they do a great job of just like trying to make you feel welcome. Like they always try to speak English, and their English is so good. Like they're always so modest, saying, "Oh, my English is so bad," that they're speaking perfect sense. Like, they're making like some fellas like I know from Kinvark and really like have the same language like local lads there would like do a favor could learn from me. But
there's plenty here as well. Don't worry.
That's what I'm saying. Like they have no idea. Like you come to Ireland, like you won't be able to understand anyone. Like they're very accommodating, and English is definitely the common language. I think a lot of the terms in football too aren't directly translated, so like a first down or whatever, it's just easier to say in English. And so the communication, it was great. Like it's not an issue at all, thankfully.
Did you just pick up a few words like Finnish or no?
Tried my best.
Yeah.
I have a friend over there, actually. He went over with me. He's been there 4 years. He's still trying to learn Finnish. So I don't know, but I think German was a lot more easy to learn, to pick up. I think. Finnish as a language, I don't know if you've ever heard it. It's just a mad language. Like it just sounds. I didn't. I did Spanish, and sure, might as well have done anything else because I can't remember a word of it. But I try, a little bit. You have a bit of laugh, learn how to count or something. The lads get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's like for the most in Germany I was trying to learn German, but like it's just so inefficient because you try to speak German to them, they immediately notice like, oh, you're terrible at German. Let's just speak English. Way better.
There's no point.
Yeah, there's no point. Like there's no way I can even try to learn.
They're going to tell you as well that you're terrible.
Impressive. Did you go? So you went to? Is it Ravensburg after a year in Finland? Was it, or were you there longer than a year?
Yeah. Well, I was in one season in Finland.
Or seasons, yeah.
Yeah, because I was kind of finishing college, so I actually couldn't come over until I think it was like 2 weeks before the season started, because I was in like, graduated, I had to do my exams, and then straight after my exams, I flew home to Ireland for like 2 days, I think, or 3 days, and then straight to Finland. And then after that, I came back again to Ireland after the season ended because I wanted to play for the Wolfhounds. And from there, then I went on and went to Germany, to Ravensburg. It's like a small enough city, kind of near Munich, kind of South Germany, right on the border of kind of Switzerland and Austria.
I imagine it's very scenic.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like the house they put us up in too was kind of out in the country, which was cool at first because like all the views of like the country road and like how their landscape is like, and you can see the Alps and stuff is great. But then you realize you have to drive nearly like 30 minutes to practice every single day, and that gets old really quick. Like,
it was
nice. It was a good experience.
They put you up in accommodation and stuff over there when you sign a contract with them?
Yeah, it's different with different teams, I suppose. The general standard deal is that you get your housing, like they either have like a team house kind of thing, or maybe they have an apartment with another player, and they give you like your accommodation gets sorted, and then you're kind of get like maybe a salary or whatever your contract is.
Yeah, it's technically semi-pro, isn't it? It's not like it's technically semi-pro, is it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
And nearly every league in Europe has kind of a limit on how many players they can take in.
Okay.
And then the lower leagues are obviously less, but in Germany, I think it was around, you could have 10 ITCs is what they're called, international transfer contracts. They're like European players who aren't like German or domestic who come in. And then you can also have, I think it's 8 or 6 Americans capped, but of those 8 or 6, you can only have 2 on the field at one time. So most teams bring 4 Americans, 2 on offense, 2 on defense, or maybe 5 to have an alternate, to give a bigger budget. But it all kind of comes down to money, I suppose.
Okay.
And did you find much difference in quality, like from say Germany to Ireland to like high school in the US, or what are the big?
Yeah, there is a massive difference. I think Ireland is probably at the lower end of the scale, just because they suffer from not having American imports. And again, it's good for the domestic growth of the game. Like it makes everyone better because you're not discouraged that they're flying in some bloke from America just to take your position. Like you can work hard and get anywhere you want. Like you can be a quarterback or whatever. And that's why we've had good players get developed from Ireland. But I think not having, like, especially an American quarterback, there's just something about that position that's so, if you haven't learned it from a young age, it's so hard to pick up if you're 18, 19, 20. Like it's so difficult. Everything else, like I said, lends itself to just being an athlete and you can do it. But like the throwing the ball, it's so unnatural.
Yeah. We're trying to throw it out in the garden like a fucking throwing it about 20 yards thinking we're class, like it's fucking
but like I just think it's very difficult, and they do learn it at such a young age. Like they're throwing a football from 3-4 years old, and then the best throwers of those 3 or 4 year olds get to be quarterback, and then the best quarterback from middle school goes to high school, and then high school to college, and those are the guys that they're bringing over to play in Germany and stuff, or in Europe, sorry. And that makes the level a lot better.
It's not even that, like you said, transferable. Like with GA, you have like catching and kicking, obviously, in rugby as well, but you have the physical kind of aspect in rugby. But there's no other sport where you're whipping balls like that, really.
And all their sports are throwing. Like basketball, they're throwing the ball. Baseball, they're throwing the ball. Like American football, throwing the ball. Like we just don't have the same thing. If it was kicking, it would be great, but it's just not applicable for us. So it is difficult to learn.
Maybe your hurling background might have helped with your hand-eye coordination for receiver and corner. I
mean, I thought I had decent enough hands, but there's also like there's levels to it. Like they learn how to catch that ball in a certain way. Like it's a lot different kind of when you can see the ball coming for a while and you can track it and stuff. And that's where like hurling is important. Like being able to catch a high ball is tough. But there's a lot of difference when there's like a quarterback just pelting the ball at you from you're on like a quick 5-yard slant or something, and you just pelting the ball, just trying to catch that. A little different focus, but yeah, it all helps, I suppose.
And what's Finn, the biggest difference is like what Dara was brushed on it last week with training and stuff. That was totally different, say, with GA and rugby compared to American football. Is it on a different scale altogether, or is there many similarities, or what would you say?
Yeah, I think it's a lot more specific in football. Like a lot shorter. Like he was saying, like they don't run laps, they run sprints and stuff, and that is very true. Like you're kind of always trying to be built to go max effort for 3 to 4 seconds, and then you kind of the play ends and your job is done. Like so you can kind of relax, get ready for the next one. So you're conditioning more than whereas like cardio and stuff is a big deal in hurling and stuff. But I do notice now that like the rugby training has kind of evolved, and I think it's probably taken a little bit from American football with like the new age of how rugby is played, and how like the collisions and short bursts are far more important than just having the stamina to go 80 minutes. So in that sense, I think rugby is kind of getting closer to American football in the way that they train and stuff. But there's still the element that you have to be able to get up and go for 80 minutes. Like it is just a different ball game when you're not able to take a break and get a bit of Gatorade and sit in the bench for a while.
So was it just a one season you done in Germany or 2 seasons? Well, 1 season and then 1 season put off, was it?
Yeah, I was actually out in Stuttgart for a while before COVID. But by the time I got there, they kind of been like, oh, we might not practice just because of COVID, we want to be sensible. And then by the end of it, they're like, yeah, you're just going to have to go home, the season's cancelled.
Okay.
But yeah, so there was just one year in Germany in the GFL too. And then obviously that was the last time I played football.
Yeah. So it's been a while you've been getting. How have you, so like time off wise, how, I guess you're in Ireland right now, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've been stuck in the supposed 5 kilometer limit as well. Like
lockdown. Was it lockdown 7 or 8 at this point?
How are you keeping yourself kind of fit, like in terms of, obviously any workout from home is no different, no same to like a team game, like, but like how are you finding it?
It is. It's very tough, right? I've just been kind of looking to do anything I can. I was lucky enough that towards the beginning of, like, say, when lockdown 1 ended, say, I reached out to the NUIG athletics team, and the Galway City Harriers, I think their club name. And so I was doing a bit of training with them, which was really good. Like it was kind of very interesting to see how like a high performance group for athletics train compared to how we train in football. Considering how similar they are, like, I'm basically running sprints when I'm running like routes and stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. Like, and I got a lot from them, and even just the structure of showing up to train, and that they were able to still train because they're such small groups and stuff. Although now they've had to stop. But that was one thing I did, and that was really beneficial. Like it was good. And other than that, I bought a few weights for the house, trying to keep myself in shape or whatever. And I know I have one friend who is quite good at throwing a football. His dad loves American football. Like, so he's been throwing a ball since he was a kid. And he works with me a good bit on the weekends and stuff to just kind of stay in shape and stay catching the football and stuff. So you kind of just trying to make the best of a bad situation, really.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not the same as like soccer or anything. We can just kind of kick a ball against the wall, like.
Yeah, it's very tough. Even rugby are kind of like the same sport. That you can't practice it on your own. Like, you just need a team environment, or you need other guys to do it with you. But everyone's kind of in the same boat, I think. So hopefully the playing field will still be even enough that like no one can really be practicing full hell for leather. Like anyway, so that's the only takeaway.
Yeah, when you were in say when you were in Germany there first time, is it, how you were saying when you're in the States, it's kind of like every day, even for like college and high school, like is it when you're on that kind of contract, is it every day in Germany? Like, are you training every day, or is it kind of, do you get rest days in Finland as well?
So we were training 3 times a week with the senior team, and then had like a game on the weekend.
Okay.
So it'll be that kind of schedule, because I think they have to accommodate for a lot of the guys are working professionals, like they have jobs and stuff, and they're actually making a huge sacrifice kind of coming out 3 times a week. Like it's tough enough for them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how they manage it. And then from us as imports, there wasn't too many restrictions. What I've heard from other guys that, like, you know, sometimes it can be written into your contract. You need to just go to the gym, or you need to do certain things on certain days. And it's more structured for them. And luckily enough, the organization we were with just kind of said, like, look, just we trust that you guys are going to stay in shape. You guys are going to know how to take care of your bodies and stuff. So for the most part, we're kind of just going to the gym or going to practice just out of necessity, like just because we're bored. Like there's so much downtime. You need some sort of structure in your day, otherwise you just like spend the whole day watching Netflix or something. So like we kind of had some sort of structure, and then with that there'd be other little things that the club might ask us to do. Like I think every second Thursday we went out and coached like a high school, like a PE class for a high school, and kind of just introduced them to the game, show them how to throw a ball or something. We did other like weeks where we were working with like a primary school kind of. We did like a week's coaching session with them, and then they have like a game at the end of it and stuff. So like little projects like that, like that if the team needs something basically that's football related, they can ask us to do it.
Yeah.
Not that we're forced or anything, but you know, you just do it because you have the time.
I know, yeah. So they're all about like building the community over there, and stuff.
Exactly, yeah. And even as Dara was saying, like that's a huge difference between here and in Europe. That like they all have youth programs, and they have teams from under 7s, under 11s, under 15s, under 19s. Like the whole way up, like and
I was surprised when he said that. Like I didn't think it was to that structure over there. Like I thought it was something similar to what it is here, like where it's kind of, you know, just kind of show up.
You start at senior level here basically. I know there are some, I think there's 7 or 8 youth teams here now, which is great. Like it'll grow the game exponentially when those kids get older, and like it'll only go from here. And I think that's what Germany is seeing now, is like that they've had that in place for, I think, 10 years. Dara said that's how long it takes to kind of see the benefits of it. But you know, this year they are sending a guy from Schwäbisch Hall, a quarterback, and he's going to TCU to play quarterback. Like, you know, as we were just saying there, like how alien it is to throw a ball, but like he's going to a Division 1 school, to play the hardest position in the sport, like, and that's all how they have the youth program.
He's German. He's German, is he?
Yeah. He's a German-born kid. Yeah. So like, you know, in 4 years, if he doesn't make it to the NFL, when he comes back, like he's just going to raise the level of the league again. Like he's going to have a homegrown German quarterback who's just as good as like anyone in America that you can get.
Yeah.
And so those benefits, I think they take a bit of planning, but like the benefits are exponential, I think, for the sport.
Yeah, that's a serious level.
And if you're, I wouldn't say there's too many 10 or 11-year-olds listening to this, but if you're a young fella and wanted to play American football, wanted to get into it, like what kind of advice would you have for someone that age? Or would it just be join a club, or what's?
Yeah, unfortunately, there aren't too many resources.
It's not really if you're that age. No?
Luckily, if you look out for it, if you live near a team, or if you're willing to drive, like into the local city or something, there are youth teams, and there's, you know, Cork and Dublin, up in Belfast, I think they have a few. They're scattered around, but unfortunately there might not be one close to you. But if you are an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old and you're looking to play, like I'd get onto the teams on Facebook that are in your area, because they're nearly all over Ireland that there are teams, and I'm sure if they start hearing that there is, you know, if there are guys who are looking for like young kids, like they'll start the programs. It would help them as well, especially if they knew if we start this, at least there will be people looking for it. Like, but yeah, it is kind of a tough enough situation now to like how to approach it. But you know,
you'd imagine like
find a way.
When NFL and stuff is getting so big, and like my nephew watches it, and you know, you see your younger people that are starting to follow it now than they never would have, like 10, 15 years ago. So it's probably definitely something worth putting resources into, you know, underage structures and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's definitely noticeable. Like I've seen so many people like just talk about it, or like everyone in the world seems to know who Tom Brady is, and like, you know, it's unmistakable that the game is definitely growing, and like I think the internet helps with that a lot. Like people see the highlights and stuff, and or there's even just a better way of watching games now and stuff. Like people are definitely picking it, like getting in on it and like starting to like it and stuff. I think that's very apparent.
Do you base when you were starting off? I guess were you basing yourself off any particular player?
Any particular player? Not particularly. No. I suppose I didn't know the players well enough to pick a team, and if I did, I probably would have picked the wrong guy.
Soccer or Gaelic, like where people try to play like a certain player, isn't it? Like so.
Yeah, I mean, I think now in Richard, like I do watch like a lot of guys film, like a lot of like the bigger receivers, like like the Mike Evans, Keenan Allen type receivers.
Yeah,
they kind of look like me, so I like to base what I do. But I think what's interesting about football is how the skill set, like it's not always like, oh, if you're tall, you do this, or if you're short, you do this. There's like different aspects of everyone's game that you can pull. Like, like Devontae Adams, like the way he runs routes, like he's such a quick guy. You could expect him to be like a killer for speed or just work that way, but like his fundamentals are actually what separates them. Like they're not actually. There's nothing physically that's amazing about him. It's just how technical he is when he runs routes, how great his hands are, how aware he is when he runs routes and stuff. So it's like your body type at this in the way football is going is mattering less and less. It's more about like what skill you can like add to your game and like what ways you can improve. And that's what I think is actually quite interesting. Especially more so probably receiver and defensive back. I think in the trenches it might be a little different. It might be hard to have good footwork when you're trying to block like JJ Watt.
Yeah. When you start, say the new season, say when you start coming into a new year, are you kind of given time to kind of go over the playbook with your quarterback or your team, or do you find it tough getting into a new a new system and stuff like that?
Not particularly tough. I kind of enjoy that aspect of it. Like there's always, you get butterflies in your stomach when you're coming to a new team because you're like wondering like, oh, like what's it gonna be like what are we gonna do? I know right now, like I already have the playbook for this new team. They have like Zoom meetings to kind of discuss, what's going on or like what if blitz pickups, because they're just trying to do the best they can. In terms of like, I think one thing that COVID will actually help is that now everyone has Zoom and everyone's so used to it that maybe instead of having the 3 practices a week, or even if you still have them, you could also just add in like a quick 15-minute meeting with your receivers and stuff and just go over stuff. And they don't have to drive or they don't have to come 30 minutes away. They can just like sit at their desk, take in a quick meeting, watch some film maybe on it because you can share your screen and stuff and then get going. I think that actually will have a lasting effect on how football is like organized in Europe, and I hope it does anyway, because there's no point in them driving like 20 minutes down the road just to go to a 30-minute film session. Like, but when you can do it on Zoom and stuff, it'll really help the team that like you have full attendance at these meetings and stuff. And that should be cool.
Feels handy. So when are you meant to, I guess, depending on how this year goes, when are you meant to fly out? Or hoping to fly out?
In April. I think April 1st is when I'm supposed to go. I have to isolate for 2 weeks when I go over there and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But like I'm ready to go at this point. I think. Yeah, like lockdown's tough. So if I could leave sooner, I would. But I think they have like the house and stuff organized for April 1st. So that's hopefully we'll head out.
You don't mind the weather over there?
Well, right now it's like my friends send me snaps. It's like negative 20 degrees and like 3 feet of snow. Like so. I'm hoping it'll melt off a little bit before then. When I was out there last, actually, it was lovely. It was like the hottest summer on history of in Finland. It was like 2018. There was a heat wave here in Ireland too. But like the house I was living in, or the city I was living in, like Pori sold out of fans. You couldn't buy fans in any shop. And me and my teammate were out there. Like we were living in an apartment right above like the laundry room. So they had all like the washing machine and dryer right below us. So the two of us were just like sweating the whole summer, like just absolutely dripping sweat. Had the windows open, door open all the time, just sitting there like in our jocks, just trying to survive. So for me, Finland's classic. It's basically a tropical island, but
sounds like college in Galway.
Might be a bit cold.
Sounds like college in Galway. Yeah. Minus the heat. Is it near where you were before in Finland? My Finnish geography isn't too good, but Helsinki is Finland, isn't it?
It's it's about 40 minutes away from Helsinki, the town going from now, Lahja. But the other one, Pori, is kind of over on the west coast, so it'll be about 3 hours away from where I'm going to be this year.
So you're central enough, like you're near the dance floor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so be able to pop in, do a bit of shopping, and come out.
So,
I don't know how your Finnish history is, but like, how is Finland kind of seems like a funny place for it in Europe to become big in, like
yeah,
I can understand Germany, like with the kind of exports and stuff like that, but like Finland seems like a funny place for it to become big in.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like you said, like that's why Germany's so big, because they had like all the military bases and stuff.
Yeah.
And these play in those, and like they just had a big American presence. But yeah, Finland is a bit bizarre. Like you look at like they play in Turkey as well. Like they play all over Europe, and like the most random countries. They have like imports and like places going. They're not the best leagues and stuff, but there's nearly every country in Europe has like some form of a league. But yeah, I don't know why they took off as well as it is.
And what's your? Do you have like a goal in say 5 years or 10 years, or what's the dream or in relation to American football?
I think
it's like the NFL.
It's not gonna. Yeah, the NFL might not come calling yet. Or
never know.
Well, ever. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really have too much of a goal. I'm doing my masters now, so kind of doing this while I have the opportunity to like kind of kill the time. And obviously, I know it's not a career that you can live forever unless you kind of go into coaching and stuff. But I think just for me, it was kind of more when I left college. I didn't play in college as much as I wanted to, and I knew like I was good enough to. I kind of didn't get the opportunities and whatever. So I thought, I'm not done playing. Like I have a few more years left in me, and I'd love to find somewhere where I can still play. And so that was kind of my motivation. And then from there, it was like, I want to play in a better league, and then a better league, and you just kind of keep going. But as I said to Dara, like I'm 24, but my knees are about 60. So like I know it's coming to an end soon.
Have you got many injuries so far in your career, like serious injuries or anything like that? Or have you been kind of lucky?
Been lucky enough, yeah. Thankfully. Try to play a soft position in receiver. I don't have to hit too much. I've fractured my kneecap towards the end of the season in Germany, which is probably the biggest injury I've had so far. So that was a big one. I had to have surgery in off season to clear that up.
Oh yeah.
But in terms of injuries, I had bangs and bruises, few broken bones, but nothing too bad.
That's right. Lads, you wanna? I guess then, do you have a team in the NFL that you follow, Finn? Or?
Yeah, so I was in Boston for 6 years, or Massachusetts for 6 years. So
no,
the
don't say it.
Don't say
it. Here, cut them off.
It's a religion over there, so you can't not be a Patriots fan.
Get him out, James. Get him out.
It's time to say goodbye now.
We're now we had our comeuppance this year.
Yeah, he did.
Humbling enough, but we'll be back. But yeah, the Patriots and what used to be the Tom Brady bandwagon was what it was.
You've been lucky enough, I guess, during your following of it, that you've had plenty of years of success. Like it's not like you've been
I think we had
misery.
3 Super Bowls while I was in college. We won 2 of them. So that was pretty good years. Like a class to see like the celebration and stuff, and like the parade in Boston and stuff was good crack, and like stuff like that was cool.
Did you ever go down to Gillette Stadium or anything down there?
I've been there. I've never been here for a game. I've been there a few times to see the stadium and stuff.
Good bit out, isn't it?
I've never actually made it to a game. It is, yeah. It's where I was trying to eat. Yeah, Foxborough, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Foxborough, sorry.
Not the easiest to access. But even then, like I kind of regret that I never went to a game, because they would have been an unreal experience.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you ever read the book The Dynasty? Or did you hear that book? It's serious. It's about the Patriots, like, but it goes through like Kraft and how we found Belichick and how they found Brady and kind of the story behind it. But it's very good. It's worth, especially if you're a fan. Like it's deadly, and you're obviously lived in the area, so you'd know like different places and stuff. So It's
Yeah,
definitely worth
I read it
looking
now
into.
and forget what happened this year and
Yeah.
relive the glory year.
Last year on.
But yeah, the Patriots were definitely the powerhouse there. They don't really have any college football either, so like it's just the Patriots. Like every Sunday, like everyone's talking about it.
Religion, like.
You know, in Dunkin' Donuts, everyone wears the Patriots jerseys for the Sunday and stuff, and you can't go 5 feet without seeing a flag or a sticker or something.
Yeah. You have you
With
much
Castle
hope?
Bear. Good All Ireland.
Have you much hopes for the season going forward? Who do you think is going to be? They're going to get in quarterback or anything like that? Or
Yeah, I
college
don't
stuff?
know. I actually really liked Cam. I'm sad that the year didn't work out the way it did. And I feel like he got kind of a tough doing. I feel like with the team he had around him, with how many people, like we had a good few players still out with COVID,
Yeah.
a few injuries, and then just like, I mean, our receivers weren't great. Like it's kind of all these little ticky-tacky excuses that, you know, maybe he just wasn't the guy. But I'd love to see him get a proper year with like a proper number one receiver, a good line, and get like, you know, Hightower and a few of the defense players back, and really get like a full whack at it. Because I'd love to see what the offense would have looked like if things were going well.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. So
No.
I don't know. I'm excited for the future though. I feel like, you know, as they say, like in Bill we trust. I'm sure he'll figure something out. Like
Yeah. He's not. I don't think he's
some
going.
sort of team.
Bill isn't going anywhere soon. I don't think.
I don't think so.
No.
Um,
So I think that's about lads. You got any other questions for Finn?
I'd say it's pretty good.
Yeah, no.
It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah,
it's good.
Finn. Thanks a million for coming on.
yeah, no worries.
Finn,
Thanks
maybe
for having me, lads.
maybe we'll see. Maybe we could get you back on again later in the year. See how you get on. Maybe catch up with you if you get over to Finland and see how your season's going.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Like get us box tickets for the Crusaders, yeah.
Yeah,
VIP.
Yeah, VIP. Yeah, exactly. I'll pull a few strings. I know a few guys. I'll pull a few strings and get to you.
Send us on a bit of gear, yeah.
No, definitely. I'd love to come back.
Good stuff.
Yeah, we're hoping to get Dara on again with a couple of the lads from Wolfhounds and stuff, a couple of the coaches, like, and chat about that, like, and see who else we get on. But yeah, if we'll see how hopefully your season goes ahead. First of all, hopefully you can get over there, and
we'll see.
yeah, and then maybe we'll catch up with you over throughout the season and see how you're getting on.
Oh, great. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All
Thanks a
right.
million, Finn.
Thanks a million, Finn.
Best of luck.
Great.
Thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Bye.